When I first received the cease and desist letter, I was devastated. This is the blueprint, okay, for how you can utilize the tougher moments in life, the adversity, the inevitable moments where things are going to happen that are outside of your control. Hello, my loves, and welcome to the Leigh Podcast, or should I say welcome back? Yes, we have officially gone full circle, started as the Leigh Podcast, changed to Within You, and now we are back to the Leigh Podcast 2.0 edition. There's a lot that has happened over the past few months that I need to explain to you why this is called the Leigh Podcast and what you can expect from this name change and the rebrand. Number one, I want to make it super clear that nothing about the content on the podcast is changing, right? You're still going to get your weekly Wednesday episodes. We're still talking self-development, positive mindset, holistic wellness, holistic health, all those good things. You can still expect the same content. That's not changing. What is changing is the name. So when I first received the cease and desist letter about a few months ago now for the trademark Within You, I was devastated. Basically what happened was another brand trademarked the name Within You, and they told me I had to change the name, and I only had a certain amount of time to change my brand name, or else they were gonna come after me with a lawsuit, right? And so when I first received that letter, first of all, I couldn't believe that it was happening. It was like, what? There's no way. I almost thought it was spam because it was in my DMs. I was like, who is this person DMing me right now about this? I had to message other people. I'm like, is this legit? I didn't think it was real. And then once I realized it was real, I was freaking out. I was like, there's no way this can be possible. I just invested so much time, money, energy into creating Within You. And now it's just all going to waste is kind of what I felt like. And because of this experience, I've learned so much, which is why this whole podcast episode today is going to be about coming back from adversity and when shit hits the fan, how to come back even stronger and better, because we're all going to deal with things in our life. We're going to deal with the unexpected moments, the twists and turns, the hard times, the fear, the adversity, the breakups, the moving. That's inevitable. And how we choose to react to it is what defines us and is what shows us our character. So anyways, that's why I wanted to make this episode about it, but let's get back to the story. I received the cease and desist letter, and at first I was like, maybe there's a way I can fight it. Maybe there's something else I can do, because I was really scared to lose the name. And I placed so much of my value and my identity and my emphasis on this name until I realized that it's just a name. It doesn't matter what the name of my podcast or my brand or my events or what I'm doing is, because that's not why you're here listening. That's not why the community comes to my events and does all these different things. It's because of what we've built together. It's because of the continuous growth and self-development that we've gone on this journey together. I'm in it just as much as you. I've been doing the podcast for over 3 years now. And I've learned so much about myself along the way. And I'm sure you have as well. There's been so much growth and development. And when I came down to it, I said, there's really nothing that matters more than the actual value that I can provide and that this community can provide for all of us. So after I calmed down a little bit and I weighed my options and I looked at kind of everything that was going on, I realized I'm not about to get into a full-blown lawsuit over this, right? I don't have the capital to expend on lawyer fees and all of these different things to try and fight it over just a name, when I can instead be putting my emphasis and my effort into bigger things that actually will serve us and will serve you better, will give more value to the community. So what I decided to do after all the chaos and all the adversity I was facing and all the doubts and the fears and it felt like my world was crumbling, I said, okay, Rebecca, this is reality. How can we make the best of it? And so I had to take a little bit of my own medicine, right? I always say life is happening for us, not to us. And I had to think, if this is happening right now, then there must be a reason, because I'm truly a believer in the saying that everything happens for a reason. Everything is coming from one source energy, whether you call that universe, God, doesn't matter. I truly believe that there's a reason for everything that happens in our lives. And so I thought to myself, okay, what is the bright side that can come out of this? What is the good thing that can come out of this really big hardship that I was facing? It really was world shattering. My whole world was shattered for a moment. And I realized that while it might be super tough to go through this whole rebrand and starting over per se in some ways, I realized that it was an opportunity for me to step into this next level identity of who I am now and where I'm going, and how that can best serve my community rather than just a name. And so it kind of got me a little bit excited, because I was like, I almost see it as like a clean slate. I've had the Within You brand for about 1.5 years now. And while I still love the name and everything that we built there, I realized that at the end of the day, nothing felt more authentic than just being me. As simple as it sounds, nothing felt more authentic than just choosing to show up as myself. Because authenticity is the highest vibration that you can wear. It's the most magnetic vibration you can wear, is when you're just being authentically you. And so instead of, hiding behind this brand name or trying to do something that maybe wasn't fully in alignment with my path, I wanted to get back to my roots. I want to get back to where we started. How I built this podcast was just under my name, the Rebecca Leigh Podcast. Under all the things that I loved, all the wisdom and knowledge and tools and tips that I want to share under the world of health, wellness, self-development, positivity, mindset. That's all who I am. That's all a part of me. And I don't need any other name to put on top of it, because I thought, you guys, for so long, for months and months, I was searching for the perfect name. I was like, okay, I'm going to change the brand name. It's not going to be Within You, but I'm going to come up with this even better brand name and this, that, and that. And I came up with some names, but none of them felt super authentic. I could have just slapped any other name on it, but it didn't feel super authentic. And so this is just a lesson to all of you guys that nothing's going to be authenticity. And so we came back full circle and we're like, you know what? Let's just bring it back to the Rebecca Leigh Podcast. So that was my long-winded update for you. And that's why I needed to take a step back from the podcast this summer, was because I was dealing with all of this. I was going through a lot of self-doubt and self-criticism and reevaluating and figuring out what my next move was and what I wanted to do. And sometimes you have to take a step back to come back even stronger. It's like the saying, 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 1 step forward, 2 steps backward. That's kind of what it felt like, but you're still on the trajectory of life of going up. Even if it's 2 steps forward, 1 step backward, 2 steps forward, 1 step backwards, like you're still moving in an upwards trend, in an upwards direction. And it's never going to be just 100% linear. I mean, even just like, I'm thinking about the stock market. The stock market right now, the picture in my head of the graph, it's never going just straight up. It's always going up and down and fluctuating up and down, but it's still moving up in a general trend. So that's what I want to impart to all of you. And that was a very long-winded beginning. But I wanted to bring this lesson, what I'm going through, to a more general lesson per se, of like, when shit hits the fan in general, how do we come back even stronger? How do we rebuild, right? When we lose a job, when we get into a breakup, a friendship breakup, when we move cities, when we go through an identity shift, an identity crisis within ourselves, like anytime there's something where we're like, whoa, we have to stop in our tracks and come back even stronger. This is the blueprint, okay? That's, I guess, what I want to call it, is like, this is the blueprint for how you can utilize the tougher moments in life, the adversity, the fear, the inevitable moments where things are going to happen that are outside of your control, that are unplanned for, unexpected, are not what you want. And here's how you can use it to come back even stronger. And not to mention, this is not the only thing this summer that has been change and scary and having some sort of adversity on to me, right? This has been a summer of big changes. I'm deciding where I'm moving. I'm making plans to move. I had to do all the rebrand stuff. I am changing, even some things of what I'm posting, and a lot of inner work and growth that's happening to me this summer that I think has caused a lot of adversity. But I finally feel like we're kind of coming out on the other side. Maybe it was just a summer of adversity. I don't know about you. That's kind of how I felt. But I really think that we grow so much through these moments. So I'm grateful for it all. But I'm just going to say it right now. This was not the summer I was planning to have. I was expecting to just travel, be free, have fun, have it all figured out, have my hot girl summer moment, whatever. And it's just not the case. It's not what happened. And it's okay if things don't go as expected. That's a big learning lesson for me this summer, is things are not just going to go as you expect them to. And that's all right. So anyways, let's get into some tips and ways that I personally use adversity for my advantage, and how I'm continuing to, because I want to make it clear that you have to feel the feelings first before we get into the tips and how to, get back even stronger. Sometimes you just have to be knocked down on your ass and sit in the shit for a bit. As much as you don't want to, and as much as it sucks, sometimes you just need to have those moments. You just need to let out a cry. You need to, complain and just let yourself feel like a victim for a bit. As much as I'm against victim mindset and whatnot, but sometimes, at least at the initial shock, sometimes you just have to let yourself feel it to heal it. And so I don't want you to think that we're ignoring these emotions and ignoring the things that come up for us. No, it's actually quite the opposite. I want you to feel it even stronger, because the deeper you feel it, the quicker you heal it. It's like with anything. I was even talking about this with a friend the other day, how I've learned so much about myself. I've learned that in order for me to move past something, I have to feel it to the fullest extent, or else it's going to linger in my energy field. So now what do? If I feel any emotion, I let myself feel it. I don't distract. I don't numb. I'm just I'm really feeling this. Let me journal about it. Let me meditate on it. Let me just complain about it. Let me cry about it. And then boom, an hour later, I'm fine. We're back to normal. So that's before we get into the tips. I just want you to know that if you're going through big life changes, if you're facing adversity and fear, it's okay to just admit that you're going through that. Number one, my biggest tip, and one of my biggest tips for using adversity for your advantage, no matter what you're going through, if you're going through a breakup, if you lost your job, you're going through an identity crisis, I don't care what you're going through. I mean, we're always all going through something, not gonna lie. I want you to reframe the way that you see it. What I mean by this, when I got served that cease and desist letter, yes, I was freaking out at first, but the moment I just took a step back, I zoomed out, and I allowed myself to come from a different perspective of what is this teaching me? What is this showing me? And I saw the light in it of this is allowing me to get back to my more authentic self, my more authentic roots of Rebecca Leigh. Then I saw it as a good thing. So it's all about our mindset and our perception, right? Whatever you're going through, even though it sucks, even though it feels horrible, it's uncomfortable, how can you reframe it to see it happening for you? That breakup, maybe there's someone better waiting for you around the corner, and you just don't have capacity to even allow yourself to think that way, so therefore you're blocking them off from meeting you. If you lost your job, maybe this is a chance for you to get into realignment and actually work on something that you do care about. Maybe you didn't even like that job anyways. You were just too scared to do it, to quit. So then, boom, the universe did it for you. If you lost a friendship, if you're going through a friendship breakup, or if you feel like you're getting distant from some friends, maybe they're not good friends for you. Maybe they're talking shit about you behind your back, and, there's an energetic mismatch, and you're up here and they're not coming on that level with you. And there's better people who are more in alignment for you. I don't know what it is you're going through, but if there's always a way to reframe, to see it in a positive at least some sort of positive light. And I don't want this to seem like toxic positivity. I just want it to seem like a light at the end of the tunnel, because you will get there and it will get better. It just sometimes takes a little bit of reframing and a little bit of time and a little bit of hope. Number 2, when going through some sort of adversity, and I know for myself personally, there's been a whirlwind of changes, and sometimes it feels overwhelming. Sometimes it really feels like a lot, and a lot of fear that associates with it. But something I'm constantly reminding myself is that it's time to see fear as our compass, as rather than our enemy. Fear can be the compass of where we should go towards, because the thing that you fear the most is usually the thing that you need to start doing, right? If you fear posting on social media more than anything else, but you know deep down that's the thing that's going to bring you the most fulfillment and joy and happiness, that's usually the thing you need to do. If you fear leaving your relationship because you don't know if anyone's going to, love you like they, love you again, but deep down this person's not meant for you, that's usually the thing you should do. If you fear moving cities because you feel like you've outgrown the city and you're stagnant and there's really nothing happening to you on a soul level, but you're scared shitless because it's outside your comfort zone, that's usually what you need to do. So that's the way I look at life, and the way I perceive life is that fear is not there to stop me, but it's there rather to serve me and to show me what I'm supposed to do. Because fear is inevitable. We're going to feel it whenever we do something new, but the way you react to it and the way you respond to it is going to be the most telling thing. And I mean, even I was scared to rebrand. To go back to the Rebecca Leigh podcast, there was so much fear associated with it. Like, what are people going to think? Is it weird that I'm going back to what my podcast used to be? Like, there was so much fear that I had with even just doing that, until you realize that it's just made up in our heads. It's not about the fear that really is telling anything. It's about me. Tip number 3 for using adversity, right? This one I really love, because this one kind of just puts me in my boss, bad bee energy. I don't know, makes me feel powerful when I think this way, so maybe it'll help you as well. And I can use adversity for my rebrand energy. How can I use this energy for my rebrand, for my comeback? Like, how empowering is that to feel that, this is my comeback? I don't have to let this stop me. Rather, I can use it as a clean slate to come back even stronger than I was before, after a breakup, after a move, after anything. Damn, I have a clean slate and I can be whoever I want to be now. And so as scary as it is to get rid of, something that served you in the past, like for example, for me, my Within You brand, like I said, part of me was kind of excited because I had a clean slate. And I could rebrand in any direction that was more authentic to who I was now versus who I was 2 years ago when I was starting that brand. So use this as rebrand energy. Call it your rebrand era. Write down an alter ego, who you want to be. Who's my rebrand energy? Who's rebrand Rebecca? What is she doing? How does she feel? How is she acting? Start living in alignment, getting into focus with your rebranded version of you. And there's no better time to do it than when you're facing adversity, because it usually makes a clean slate. Tip number 4, channel this new energy into something productive. So it kind of goes, off of number 3 with the rebrand. You usually have more space. Something is clearing out when there's adversity, and it's scary. But instead of focusing on the lack thereof, start focusing on how you can use this new energy to actually pour over and fulfill and add into something productive. So instead of me dwelling on me losing the name forever, I actually started channeling my energy into something productive. Okay, what is the rebrand going to be? How can I come back stronger? What is all these different things? How can I make this even better? Channel that energy into something more productive, and that'll pay off so much more than dwelling on, the loss. Don't focus on the lack. Focus on the abundance that's going to come from it. And lastly, tip number 5, when we go through adversity, our minds really like to play tricks on us, and we can tend to get into worst case scenario thinking. So rather than getting into worst case scenario thinking, I want you to start thinking of the best case scenario. Start training your mind to see the best case scenario that could happen to you when this adversity is over, when it's happening, or when, all these different things are occurring in your life. How can you start looking at it as the best case scenario? So for me, the best case scenario, I got to rebrand. I got to come back even stronger. My Rebecca Leigh Podcast 2.0 is even better. People feel more aligned to me. I feel more in alignment with myself. I come up with better ideas. More people are listening to the podcast. We're reaching more people. My brand name is growing. Like, there's so many positive things that could happen from it. And people know me. They know Rebecca Leigh. Maybe they don't all know within you, but they know Rebecca Leigh. So that's kind of what I started training myself of, like, what is the best thing that could happen? What is the best case scenario? And how can I align myself to the energy of best case scenario energy instead of worst case scenario energy? So that pretty much sums up all the tips that I have for you today. But I really want to emphasize that we can't always control what happens to us, but we can control how we choose to respond to it. And so the lesson is always on, how did I handle this adversity? How did I choose to rebuild? How did I choose to rebrand? How did I choose to find the light in the situation, in the adversity? Because the sooner you do that, the sooner you'll get out of that adversity situation. And so that's kind of where my head's been at this summer, as I've been focusing on the rebrand, coming back to the Rebecca Leigh Podcast 2.0, the more evolved version. I'm more evolved. The podcast is more evolved. You are more evolved. We are all ready for the 2.0 version that's coming on the Rebecca Leigh Podcast. I am so, so, so excited, you guys. We have incredible guests coming on the show. I'm planning to bring on even more guests. So message me and let me know if there's anyone in particular you want me to interview, because we're going to be bringing more people on. We have a lot of in-depth episodes, solo episodes as well. I've done a lot of reflection and thinking this summer, and that's what I mean, like taking a step back from the podcast. I really did miss it, but it's given me some time to kind of get back into my creativity and into my flow. So we have so many new episodes coming for you. I'm super excited. And as always, thank you so much for all the love and support. And thank you for being here and coming back and listening each week. It truly means the world to me, and I would not be here without you. So I'm sending all my love, and I will catch you in the next episode. Mwah.